to this YouTube channel. So today I'll be giving you my experience through a wonderful movie I saw, and the name of the movie is World War Z. Now, of course, World War Z is not a recent movie. It was released 10 years ago, but in 2023 it was released 2013. But when it was released right then, it was during the time when Resident Evil movie was still on and Walking Dead movie was still on. But one unique thing about World War Z was that it had a kind of, it wasn't, even though it's an horror film, yes, it is an horror film, but the one thing about the movie was that it was actually kind of different from the way horror was actually portrayed in Resident Dead and Walking Dead, Resident Evil and Walking Dead. So right now I'll just be taking us through to just see a very short part of the movie before I go on to talk about my review. So just get to enjoy this.
Does it live in a jungle?
No. Oh.
Is it really fast?
No.
Does it live on the Great Plains of Africa?
No.
Hey!
What is going on? Hold on, guys.
Daddy, be careful on the road. Jerry?
Get back in your car right now! Remain with your feet!
Getting out of here.
Hey, so how do you see it? Like my lecturer says, how do you see it? Perfect. Like seriously, the movie when I started it, like seriously, I was so tense. And one thing about the movie was that the suspense that was put into the movie was quite very high. Like you get, especially at the beginning where the character Jerry Lynn, who was the original person, the name of the person who acted the character Jerry Lynn was Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt acting Jerry Lynn. When the movie first started, they first went from home and they were in the traffic, and when they were in the traffic, like there was hold-up, but then the guy discovered that this hold-up is not the usual kind of hold-up, and then from there terror started, and then from there he discovered that there was like explosion everywhere, there was unrest everywhere, helicopters were going all around and also. But then fast forward to the fact when he moved past the everything, the unrest and everything, and then he discovered the cause of what was happening. He discovered a very strange scene where he saw a zombie, someone infected, biting another person, and in about 10 seconds the virus transmitted through the person and acted on the person, turned the person to a zombie. So all that area was very seriously full of suspense because he was with his family, and I was like, oh no, what will happen? Okay, am I sure this guy is not going to lose his daughter like this? Or am I sure this guy is not going to lose his wife like this? Because there were moments where the zombies were actually very close, especially. But one thing about the movie was that it was linked to the deputy general of the United Nations, and that was the man that sent a helicopter that contained the military people to rescue him from the top of the skyscraper where they rescued him. But even at that point exactly, they were so close. Like the one thing I can just say about the movie was that there was so much full of suspense. So right from there, when he was rescued, he was taken to a navy ship on the sea. He and his family were taken there, but at that moment it was because his profession before he actually retired was a former UN investigator. So because there was an outbreak that happened, he had to go and investigate, and so that was why he was called. He actually called the Deputy General of the United Nations, who was his friend. And then when he eventually landed on the ship, he was tasked with the responsibility to lead a team to go and investigate on the matter. And that's where he had to part with his family, and a lot of things again. Like that's where suspense started. But right at this point, while he was on the plane going to a place to go and investigate, a very young guy who was a doctor in virology followed him and said something that served as a clue to him to finding the cure and to unlocking the code of the virus, because of course the virus was spreading all around. And even, okay, don't let me jump, but let me right now here show you a part of what the guy said to Geraldine that actually helped him to eventually connect the dots and to find the cure or the antidote to the zombie attack and the world pandemic that existed. So let me show you a short video of what the guy said. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we're gonna find something. Mother Nature is a serial killer. No one's better, more creative. But like all serial killers, she can't help the urge to want to get caught. And what good are all those brilliant crimes if no one takes the credit? So she leaves crumbs. Now the hard part, while you spend a decade in school, is seeing the crumbs for the clues they are. Sometimes the thing you thought was the most brutal aspect of the virus turns out to be the chink in its armor. And she loves disguising her weaknesses as strengths. She's a bitch.
What the doctor of virology actually told him, he just listened to it, but that was really a very, very wonderful clue to him getting the antidote. And when they got to the center, because of course the doctor of virology was a master in his own place, but he was not used to the battleground, he was not used to the battlefield. So when he saw the zombies and everything, he was so scared, and he held a gun that was given to him by Geraldine to protect himself. But because he didn't know how to handle a gun, he mistakenly shot himself and died. And so the hope of the doctor in virology coming there to help understand the virus and everything was dented, and so Geraldine had to take up the task by himself, went into where the soldiers were encamped, and from there one of the soldiers explained another clue to him that really helped him to really understand the virus more. And then the soldier told him that right there's only a place all over the world that is still free from the virus, and that was in Israel, Jerusalem. So Geraldine had to go to Jerusalem to try and understand what the virus was really about. And when he got there, shortly after he got there, the people around there, one of the things that the zombie are very sensitive to is sound. So those people were ignorant of that, and so they were singing, and so the sound attracted the zombies that they climbed over the Jerusalem wall and entered the city. And so the zombies bite these people and they get contracted with the disease and they transform into zombies too. So while Geraldine was actually escaping from the scene, he observed something similar to what he eventually observed when he was in the queue, and he discovered a kind of incident. He discovered that even though these zombies were actually infecting people, they escaped, like they allowed some, they didn't touch some people. So it was, as he was running, he was observing that, and eventually he left the scene, and eventually fast forward, he went and he boarded the plane, and on the plane zombie attacked again, and then the plane crashed, but he survived with a lady, an Israeli soldier who was a lady. And then eventually they went to an institute of research right there, where the man actually, and that was really where the stuff broke out from the lab. And then eventually, so when they got to the lab, they explained everything that really happened to him and how the outbreak really started when a immunologist was actually working on the virus. to actually isolate the virus and then transfer it to China for some analysis. But while he was doing it, he mistakenly injected himself with the virus and transformed it to a zombie. And that was when he then started reflecting to the fact that what really happened at the beginning was that he now remembered the words the doctor in biology actually told him, that every virus or every of those stuffs have their weaknesses. And then he remembered that right there they didn't touch some set of people, and he was able to understand that those people were actually diseased people. And so that brought the solution to him. And there was really one thing that really wowed me. Yes, right there when I think the lady was really saying in there that a predator does not actually feed on diseased people. Like when an animal or the prey that it wants to feed on is actually diseased, it avoids it. And that was what really gave them a scientific background to actually go in the quest of what he suggested. So now it was left for him to go on the risk of actually going to find the cure at the other side of the institute, because this institute was already divided into two. Part of it was already infected by people and zombies were there, and the other side were still filled with some of the elderly scientists. So he was left to go there. Eventually he went there, went to the place, and they had a choice, gathered all the medicines together, the microbes that were the pathogenic microbes. Police go out and they saw a zombie at the back in front of the closed door, and then he had only an option to either inject himself or to die there. And so he chose the option of taking the risk of injecting himself there to see whether what he said and what he gave as a suggestion will actually work out. And he actually injected himself, and to the surprise, to everybody's surprise, like I said, the movie was totally filled with suspense everywhere. In fact, the sound, the everything, it was totally filled with suspense. Anyways, the thing worked, and the pathogen was not the infected person turned into a zombie could not really recognize him, because like I said earlier, the theory that actually bettered it was that predators do not feed on diseased prey. And so because he was diseased, because he already injected himself with the pathogenic microbe, the zombie could not see him because he was diseased. So he walked through and went back to the other side of the Institute of Research, and then that was where what they called it in the movie was a camouflage to just help prevent people from being killed while they kill the zombies. So that was how the outbreak was cleared and the zombies were killed and all that. But one thing about the movie that really enlightened me about was how it's related to COVID-19. Because right now there have been a lot of debates about the origin of COVID-19. And one thing about microorganisms is that when there's an outbreak, one of the things they look for is where did it originate from. Like for Ebola, I think it took about 12 years or 16 years for them to actually get the origin of where Ebola virus broke out from, and they discovered it was from Ebola river. And so in the sciences, the origin is actually very important. And so the way it actually related to COVID-19 was the real educating part of the movie for me. But then the horror and the suspense in the movie, there were times where I was like, hey, this guy will already die. But eventually he didn't die. And another lesson I actually learned from the movie was that sometimes you have to take a risk to save your life and to move from a particular level in life to another level. Because right there he had to take a risk to actually save the world. He actually had to take the risk even at the cost of his life. And most times the risks always look like we'll be losing our life, or we'll be losing something very dear, or we'll be losing something very important. But most times when we take risks, it always leads to, most times, but some of the time it leads to failure, but certain times that's the actual thing we need to get what we really need, to evolve into better people, to evolve to be solution solvers, solution renders and problem solvers. So that's really found lessons actually learned. Thank you so much for going through this review slash should I say summary of the movie. Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Bye bye.